Welcome to this week's edition of Mob Talk. I'm Dave Schratwieser.
And I'm George Anastasia with the Philadelphia Inquirer.
George, this week we're going to talk about a couple of guys we haven't spoke about for about 10 years because they've been behind bars. Joey Merlino and George Borgesi.
Yeah, Joey will be out probably in about a year and a month or two. Georgie's got probably a little bit more than 2 years. Georgie's also got some other problems, not the least of which is his name popped up in the Delaware County racketeering investigation, and now the feds are taking an interest in that.
George, you want to say anything? Not today? All right, George, let's start with George Borgesi. A lot of buzz on the street about some recent events with him.
Yeah, he's apparently in the hole. He's in prison in West Virginia, and he's incommunicado. And that always creates a problem. When you're not hearing from somebody, you start to wonder.
You got a couple of ways you can go there.
Exactly. I mean,
is it an administrative thing, or is it something else?
Yeah, and if something else is what bothers everybody. You know, the fact that he would be considering cooperating to me seems outlandish, given who he is, given his track record, given the fact that his uncle is the alleged boss. But that's what happens in this kind of situation. Rumors start, people start talking, there's a lot of chatter going on about that. And he clearly has a problem with the Delaware County thing because his name came up in the state police investigation, and now the feds have adopted a lot of that, and they're having different individuals going in front of a grand jury. So there could be a problem.
There was some information in that Delco Nostra case about money going to his wife, correct?
Exactly. I mean, part of the money that was being collected was given to his wife, and it was allegedly his bookmaking operation, and Benfinger Lou Monticello was his proxy out there in Delaware County. So all of that has got the feds interested, and that may be another kind of criminal problem he's got in addition to whatever reason he's in the hole. I mean, that's another thing that's got people chattering.
We all know George is a nervous fellow to begin with.
Right.
Can you imagine the nerves if he is in the hole still and hearing all this buzz on the street, kind of where his mind is at?
Oh, sure. I mean, the very fact that his name started to come up in that Delaware County thing had to get him upset because he doesn't like that kind of stuff. He's looking at, I got 2 more years to go before I come out, and now somebody's saying, maybe that door's not going to open. That creates a problem. Yeah. Now, this other business, nobody quite knows why, that adds to a lot of the turmoil internally, yeah.
In your estimation, could the feds be waiting at the jailhouse door when he does go out?
They like to do that kind of stuff. They like to say, you think you're coming out, but you're not really coming out. Forget about it. I mean, that's the kind of mind games that they're playing, and he's the type that you can play those games with, and it creates a problem.
You could also just be in the hole for administrative stuff that happens inside the prison, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way we know why he's in the hole, and it could be something as simple as that. And the problem is, apparently, he can't communicate with anybody, so nobody really knows.
All right, since we're on communication, Joey Merlino's been in prison now for almost 11 years.
Right.
There are some reports that he now has internet. He can go on and email people. And
I've been hearing from people who say Joey is emailing. Yeah, so Joey emails, Joey calls on the phone, Joey keeps on top of what's going on here. I think he's aware of everything that's happening, and he's also interested in how the Phillies are doing and how the Flyers are doing and all that kind of stuff. Joey is Joey. And like I said, he'll be out in probably a year and 2-3 months.
Now, I've heard a little buzz that Joe Legambi's actually been talking to him on the phone and communicating back.
That wouldn't surprise me. I think Joey has a way of communicating with a lot of different people, either directly or indirectly, or you call somebody and somebody else is going to be there when the call comes in, those kind of things. And it's interesting, given all the interplay that's going on and how people are lining up with that Monticello, Delco Nostro, who's lining up behind Borgesi, who's lining up behind Marty Angelina, who is Joey's guy. A lot of different things going on, a lot of things at play. Where
does Joey go if he comes out? If he goes to a halfway house, say in the next year or so, does he come back to Philadelphia? I've heard reports he wants to go to Florida. He's not coming back to Philadelphia. If there's a big federal indictment and Joe Legambi is off the street and his cohorts, that opens the door again.
Yeah, I think Joey comes back to South Philly no matter what. Joey's Joey. Joey's going to do what Joey wants to do. I don't think it matters. If there's a vacuum and a lot of guys are indicted in a way in jail, he'll help fill that vacuum. If they're there, he'll slide right in. Joey doesn't really care about titles. Joey is just Joey, and I think none of that's going to change.
He also doesn't care about other people too much when it comes to the hierarchy. Exactly. If he wants to slide in somewhere, he slides in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that the situation, if you remember, with Ralph Natale was the boss, but Joey was content to let him be the boss. Joey was doing what Joey wanted to do. It'll be the same no matter who's in charge when he comes back out.
George, let's talk about if Merlino were to come back out on the street in a year or so and Joe Legambi was still on the street as the boss. Joey's a high profile, doesn't shrug off the media. Joe Legambi's the complete opposite. Could they bang heads a little bit?
Well, in that respect, philosophically, they're totally different. I mean, Legambi likes to stay in the shadows, make money, don't make headlines, don't call attention to yourself. Joey's the kind of celebrity gangster. But I think Legambi has indicated or has demonstrated that he's very much laissez-faire. If it doesn't impact him, if he doesn't think it's going to cause him a problem, he'll probably let Joey be Joey. It doesn't really matter.
Joey not in South Philly, I can't picture that.
No, I mean, neither can I. I mean, he is a product of South Philadelphia. It's his identity, and I would imagine, even if he were to come out and say, I'm going to Florida, he may go to Florida for a vacation, but he's always going to be based in South Philadelphia.
And is he fortified by the fact that most of his guys are now back out on the street?
Well, I mean, that's got to be something. I mean, Marty Angelina's his guy, Stevie Mazzone's his guy. Those guys came back out. They're sitting there. They're not doing very much. And I think their allegiance is to Joey, right? Much more than an allegiance to an organization. Their allegiance is to Joey.
Because they're boyhood friends, right?
Yeah, they come from 12th and Wolf. They're all the guys from the corner. And that's what this was always about with Joey. It wasn't about the Mafia, Cosa Nostra. It was about the guys from 12th and Wolf.
All right, George, so the future of Merlino and Borgesi really depends a lot on what the feds do.
Exactly. I think the FBI's got a racketeering investigation, and the key is who gets indicted, who gets sent away, who's left out there. And everything will play out according to how that evolves. And we don't know yet what's going to happen. We know there's a grand jury, we know there's an investigation, but we don't know what it's going to result in.
Okay, that's it for this week's version of Mob Talk. We'll see you next week.